Yes. So in today's unit, what we'll do, we will define what strategic management is all about. After we have defined that, we will look at strategic management process. We'll look at the strategic management process. We will have time to look at the types of management process and the tasks that are given to strategic managers. Then we will look at some of the advantages and disadvantages of strategic management. Basically, these summarize the entire course of strategic management. We will have to look at them in that way. To start with, the name of the course is strategic management. So made up of two words. There is management, and there is also a part of strategic which comes from the word strategy. So let me start by defining the word strategy. A strategy is an action plan. Pay attention to this one. It is an action plan on how you are going to obtain a set objective or a set goal. So there are those goals that you set or objectives that you want to achieve. Then there should be a written action plan. It's an action plan, which means it outlines the activities or the steps that you're going to carry, that you're going to take so that you can achieve what you want to achieve. It is one thing to say, oh, I want to have this, we want to achieve this. But there is a part of you sitting down and ask yourself a question: what exactly am I going to do so that I can achieve that particular thing? That is what a strategy is. So when you are dreaming, oh, I want to get A plus, in all the courses. I want to get A plus in all the courses, to be a distinction student. Then there should be something that you are supposed to do. There are those actions that you are supposed to do, the activity part of it. So when you write down that plan, that has got the activities that you're going to do so as to achieve that particular set goal, that is a strategy. I think you have gotten what a strategy is. Okay? We have gotten what a strategy is. Do I have a question on a strategy? All right. We proceed. We have management. So management actually is a process of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, people and activities so as to achieve the given or the intended goal. That is management. So now, strategic management, strategic management as now strategic management itself. Let me define the strategic management for you. Okay, just a minute. Just a minute, so that we get strategic management. We have strategic management defined. Yeah. So strategic management can be defined as a bundle of decisions, right? A bundle of decisions and acts or activities which a manager undertakes and which decides the results of the organization's performance. So a bundle of decisions and acts which a manager undertakes and which decides the results of the firm's performance is what is called strategic management. So now, when you talk about strategic management, we can still define it, as just, we can still say that it is all about identification, description of the strategies that managers can carry out so as to achieve the better performance and competitive advantage of their own organization. So when you identify and describe those strategies that you need to carry out so that you can achieve better performance or achieve the intended goal, then we say that you are doing strategic management, or you're being strategic as a manager. Or in other words, you can say strategic management Okay. So strategic management, it is about planning, right? Planning, monitoring. These are key things that we do in strategic management. Planning, monitoring, analysis. Okay. Planning, monitoring, analysis, assessment, right? Assessment of all the necessary activities or all the necessities an organization needs to achieve, the organization needs to achieve a set goal or a set objectives. I'll go over it again. I would say strategic management is about planning, and underline these key terms. It's about planning. It is about monitoring and evaluating, analyzing, and assessing all necessities organizations need to achieve a set goal or a set objective. So these are the key things that you do in a strategic management. You are going to be planning, and we will go in detail to teach you actually one by one. We'll discuss these one by one, the art of planning. How do you plan? Okay? Because you don't just do things anyhow. So we'll have a deeper conversation on the aspect of planning, just planning itself. Monitoring and evaluation, on the part of you monitoring and evaluating those strategies, and how to analyze and make assessments. That's what we are going to be doing. So under planning, this is what we are going to be doing. These are units that I'm trying to bring forward to you. Under planning, what you're going to be doing is that we are going to be making strategic decisions. So you learn how to make strategic decisions here. The how part of making strategic decisions. And after that, there is a part of the activities. Okay? The activities, like the activities that you need to carry out so that you can achieve that particular goal. And there is a part of, allocating resources, that is resource allocation. So you learn how to allocate resources, or what mechanism do you use for you to allocate resources. We will do goal setting under planning here as a unit. So learn how to set goals. Not that simple goal setting process that we say, no, goals have to be smart, but there will be a deeper conversation that will hold on the aspect of goal setting. How specifically we set the goals, because we don't want to produce a manager that does not know how to set goals. You know, we have to set goals in a way that reflects that we are indeed degree holders and we are trained in management. So we are going to be doing that, and that is what we are going to do. Okay. I said that we need also to look at strategic management process. Now, before I come to the strategic management process, let me find out if at all the class has got any question. Does any one of us have a question? I'm trying to introduce the course. So there is nothing much that I am doing. I'm introducing the course so that you can have the roadmap today. Do I have any question? Am I audible enough?
Right. My side is clear.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the feedback. So we have to pay attention because this lecture actually is the one that determines your entire experience in the whole course. So you don't have to lose it. Get it clearly from here. Strategic management process. Now, there is a process that is involved for you to be a strategic manager. How do you become a strategic manager? What do you do? There are basically 5 phases. Okay, there are 5 phases or 5 stages that are involved in the strategic management process. Right now, I'll go over them, but when we start, we will zero in and look at them one by one in details. And actually, we'll have very, very interesting conversations on these. I'm so passionate about management, you know. Number 1, this is the first phase of process, strategic management process. It is goal setting. The first phase, goal setting. Okay. Here, this is where you set the short-term and long-term, goals or objectives. But mainly when you form the long-term objectives, under this unit, you will be trained that the long-term objectives can easily be achieved if you can break them down into small units, which are the short-term goals. So the short-term goals should be aligned with the long-term goals. There should be some coherence. They should be properly aligned. And we are going to talk about the mechanism of forming these goals and what you need to consider when you're forming the long-term and the short-term goals. We'll have a deeper conversation under this one, and very interesting one, of course. Separating roles. This is what you do here. You have to separate the roles and the duties of employees and the workforce. It is under this phase. Because for you to achieve these same goals, you need to have people around. You have to have the workforce. Now, this same workforce should be given exactly what to be done. There are some organizations whereby it's not even clear what you are doing, as you are working. You don't even know exactly what you are doing. So here we'll learn how to formulate the roles and the duties of each participant or each office or each member of the workforce. So basically, that's what we are going to be doing here. What do we do? What do you have to do? What do you have to consider when you're formulating these roles? Under this, once we do that, we would have done the first phase of strategic management process. The second phase of strategic management process is called the gathering information. Yes, I see a hand. You can go ahead.
So what is strategic management process. What is it if we were to
Or
describe
if you are
it?
to define it. Okay.
Yes.
So by just in other words, in simple terms, strategic management process actually, it is the process that you undergo, or the activities and the stages that you have to the steps that you need to carry for you to come up with a, you know, with for you to be a strategic manager, I should say so. Because for you to strategize, to come up with a strategy, you need to come up with a strategy as a manager, right? But there is a process to be involved for the strategy to come out, for that strategy to come out. Yeah. So when you're doing all those things, the steps that you have to follow is what we call the strategic management process. I don't know if that helps.
So you said the steps that you have to undergo to become a strategic manager, if I got you clear.
Okay, I should put it in these words, like the steps that you have to undergo for you to come up with a strategy and how you're going to implement the strategy. Remember, what is driving you is a goal, the objective, right? As a business, you form the objective. We want to get there, okay? But how do you get there? What is it that you're going to be doing in between? Now, that list of the steps that you have to follow is what is called the strategic management process. Do you get it?
It's clear.
Okay, thank you. Do I have any other question? Okay. Once we do goal setting and the objective formulation, then we have the second step, which is gathering information and analyzing the information. So you do data collection and information collection here. You have set those goals of yours. But the question is that now that you have set those goals, what is it that you are going to do? Okay. Yeah, what information do you need for you to achieve those goals? You may not be able to formulate the strategy until you have some information. So under this part, you have to research. You conduct a research, you collect some information. When you zero in, we'll show you how to collect the information and what type of information you need to collect for each goal. There are those do's and don'ts here. So we'll talk about them when we start learning. So you collect the information, and once you collect this same information, this is going to serve as a foundation in a strategic formulation. You collect this information, you have to analyze it, okay? You have to analyze the information at the same time. Gather the information, then analyze. You do some analysis. Now, when you're doing the analysis, remember this time around, we have not yet formed the strategy, isn't it? We don't have the strategy yet. We need to conduct some analysis. And the common analysis that you need to do here is the common one that you have, that many people might be alive to. The SWOT analysis and the PESTEL analysis here is done. You do the SWOT analysis and the PESTEL analysis right at this stage. What is a SWOT analysis? Maybe anyone, I am involving the house under this one. What do we understand by a SWOT analysis? Anyone?
SWOT analysis is just,
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Just a try. SWOT analysis it's the assessment of strength and weakness of an entity, and then you assess the external opportunities and the threats.
Okay, thank you very much for that one. So basically, you are doing the internal and external analysis of the what? Of the business at this point, before you even form the strategy, so that the strategy that you're going to form can capture all these. You're going to do the internal analysis. The internal analysis, under internal analysis, this is where you study your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay? Apo, we are just mentioning it, but when we zero in, we'll go in details like what is SWOT analysis? We'll have to look at them. What do we mean by strength? What can qualify to be strength? What can qualify to be weakness? So we'll have time to go in details and look at these in details. Because these are practical questions that you may have. We can just bring a company for you and give you some scant information about it and tell you, can you do a SWOT analysis of a company? As a well-trained strategic manager, you should be able to do a SWOT analysis of a company, outlining, being able to bring out the strength and the weaknesses of a company as a strategic manager. You see, that you should be able. There are some people who have worked for an institution for a long time, but you can't even do a SWOT analysis of a company. So since these are practical elements of the course, we will be doing them now practically, and we'll have to zero in and look at them in detail. When you do external analysis, you are trying to link the institution now to the external world. That is to the outside, to the external environment. You look at the opportunities, and in details, we'll look at what may qualify to be opportunities and the threats around. What elements would you consider as threats? We'll discuss together when that time comes. Let's go to PESTEL analysis. We are on analyzing stage. We're going to be analyzing. What do you do under PESTEL analysis? What is PESTEL? We don't know this model. Have you ever heard of this model before? As a strategic manager.
It stands for political, economic, structural, technology, and environmental.
Hold on. Is it political? Then
economical. This one is social.
Social.
Technology.
Technological.
Environmental.
Environmental, ecological.
And legal issue.
And legal. There is a hand. Yes, sir. Can go ahead.
So from my side, I can say, since we're talking about strategic management, it's also an analysis that you use in business to assess the macroeconomic factors that may impact business.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, thank you for that one. Yeah, so it's one of the tools actually, or the models that we use to analyze the macroeconomic factors that can affect the business. So we'll zero in and look at these in detail. So that is the second step in the strategic management process. Okay, being the first step in a strategic management process. The third step is strategy formulation. Strategy formulation. At least now you can form the strategy after you have collected all this information. Because most of people, managers, fail to come up with a good strategy because they don't have the information. If you have seen, there is so much work to be done on stage number 2, where information is concerned about and where the analysis is concerned. That's a lot of work that you have to do. Once you have done that correctly, then formulating a strategy may not be a challenge. Then from strategy formulation, then there is a part of you implementing the what? The strategy. So when we reach out for strategy formulation, we'll go in details, like we'll go very deep and show you how to form the strategy. You know, how do you actually form strategy? What do you consider? How do you structure a strategy, in short? Yeah. How long should be a strategy in terms of maybe you are writing pages? How many pages do you need in the strategy? Okay. How frequent do you need to review the strategy if at all you need to review it? So on number 4, you are implementing the strategy. So under implementation of the strategy, you need your workforce or your employees to know and understand the strategic plan that has been set, or the strategy. They should understand our main objectives, what we are standing for, so that you are moving together as a team. And like some things are hidden to our people. Then the 5th step in the process is monitoring and evaluation. Very important. I hear there are some of you that do monitoring and evaluation in the first year, right? Some of you did monitoring and evaluation, you remember? Or there are a few of us that did it. It's one of the short courses actually that are offered anywhere you go. A very important actually skill that we need. So managers should have the ability to conduct monitoring and evaluation. So under monitoring and evaluation, this is where you are to monitor. The way the monitoring comes from the way the monitor. You are looking at the strategies. Okay, let me write down so that you can see clearly what I'm talking about. Under monitoring, you are here to analyze, okay, managing, tracking, you know, and let me say evaluating every step, okay, every step that is associated to strategic management, okay. Under this stage, you compare the budgeted outcome and the actual outcome, and you make certain adjustments under evaluation. So what you're doing is that since you have formed a strategy, which is an action plan, right? You have outlined what you're going to be doing exactly. But once you have done that, you have done exactly what you're going to be doing, then the question of the day is, how are you going to be measuring to see if you are progressing in the right direction? It becomes so significant and very important to you to be checking, because there are some indicators that you'll be trained on how to formulate. Even indicators you should be able to formulate as a strategic manager, so that you are checking what you are doing, your daily activities, if they are aligned, they are coherent to the strategic plan. Are you really acting according to what you planned, to be doing? Are you doing what you plan to be doing? What is it that you are doing? Then once you reach to the end of the period that you had set, you start evaluating, checking what you had planned to have and what you have actually gained. During the monitoring process, this is a process where you're going to be taking corrective measures there. You'll be taking adjustment, you're making some adjustment. For example, every week you check what you are doing. If it's not according to the plan, you make corrective measures there and then. So basically, that is what happens under monitoring and evaluation, that process, a very, very important process. So these are the 5 phases of strategic management. Once we look at the 5, we'll look at them in details when we start. There are now the types, we have the different types of, how should I say, the tasks of strategic management. And the following are the tasks of strategic management. We have got a task to develop a strategic vision, okay? To develop a strategic vision and a business mission. You develop a vision, you also develop a mission. It is your duty as a strategic manager. Then it is your task to set objectives. You are there to set objectives. And once you have set objectives, you have a task to craft a strategy to achieve those objectives. Craft a strategy. You have crafted a strategy, then you have to implement and execute the strategy. Implementation and execution of the strategy. And then the last task you have is to evaluate the performance here. You monitor the new development and initiating corrective measures. These are basically, in a nutshell, the main activities of a strategic manager. So in a nutshell, this is what we are going to be looking at in strategic management. But we have not gone in detail because when we zero in next time, we are starting now afresh, like in details, picking these bits, like these steps, one by one, tracking them and getting deeper and bringing out all the key things that we need to learn at each stage.